Hello, and welcome to my adventures in Metroid Zero Mission. So, Zero Mission is a pretty amazing game. To put it simply, it's one of the best Metroid games. It's based off of a very legendary game, and even though I was already a Metroid fan by the time I played this is the first Metroid game I played that was 2D, sort of. But it was the one that made me really like the gameplay style that people call Metroidvania, which essentially amounts to you play the game, you platform a lot, as you can see here in the demo screen, and you collect items, you collect power-ups, you take down enemies and bosses. It's kind of like a platforming adventure sort of game, and you're typically in an enclosed area trying to see every secret you can. You don't have to 100% the game, and there's actually a lot of incentive, well, I wouldn't say incentive, but a lot of push, maybe, I don't know. Can't think of a really good word, but essentially people want you to speedrun the game. There's rewards for speedrunning, and it's a common thing to speedrun a game like this, and this game in particular is one of those games where it's very fulfilling if you do speedrun it. If you do speedrun it. Because this game isn't easy. It's easier than certain Metroidvanias. It's even easier than certain other Metroid games that we'll see in the future. But it is still a tough game if you're not adept at this kind of gameplay. So, it's gonna take getting used to. Up until this point, when I recorded it, this is also post-commentary, but when I originally recorded this, or when I originally played this, I played it on easy mode, and it was still hard. And there's nothing against playing on easy mode, you know, you will have an easier time, and there's not really, the only downside to it is you only can get one of the ending title cards, or whatever you would call it, when there are many ending title cards. I probably will never get them in my entire life. I've seen them all, but I don't think I can get them all because you gotta be really good at speedrunning, you gotta speedrun while getting 100% items, you gotta do it with a low percentage of items. It's tough. So as you can see, there's my original save file there. You can essentially copy that save file, and you should. You'll then be able to continue it, you can delete it, erase it, but you want to erase it in a specific way where, when you erase it, you get to keep a certain reward that you get for beating the game, which essentially shows you how long you played and where items certain are. Planet Zebes, I called this place home once, in peaceful times, long before evil haunted the caverns below. Now I shall finally tell the tale of my first battle here, my so-called Zero Mission. Sorry, I nearly ruined your narration there, Samus. But anyway, yeah, so, woohoo! We're Samus Aran, the ultimate bounty hunter. And, essentially, the game has a very unique way of introducing its gameplay style. We're gonna go the typical way. So you want to go right, as you typically do in video games, platformers, all that. Go right, well, you run into an enemy, you jump over the enemy. And you have this interesting weird jump where she'll like do like a little forward tap if you tap it in a certain way. Jumps are weird in this. But anyway, you get to the door, you shoot it open, And as you'll notice here, Samus says I got a very poor shot. This is actually not her first mission. So up until this point, she's been winning battles, doing missions with just one shot. Ow. And only one energy tank. She doesn't have a lot of health, and she can't crawl. Metroid unfortunately cannot crawl, as they say. So there's really nothing you can do. You're kind of stuck. You can see that there's more forward. There's something enticing back there, but you can't figure out what it is. So now you go backwards, which I guess was an innovative idea back in the ancient times of video games, because this is actually a remake of the original Metroid game that came out way back on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I've played a bit of it, and well, let's put it this way. It's the one thing that would make me not want to ever have played Metroid. It's a very, very hard game. But we have our first power-up, the Morph Ball. Double tap down to take ball form and gain access to narrow passageways. Yep, so now, after we get by this enemy, boop, yay, we can be a ball. First we were ball as Sonic, now we're a ball as Samus. Woo! It's a fun ability. It's you can't shoot in that form, so you gotta be careful with it. But now you can get under those tiny little passageways. One of the best parts about this game is the fact that you can have a lot more control compared to the original Metroid. In later Metroid games, they gave you the option of controlling where you aim. And as you can see, I'm controlling it right now. I can aim upwards. It's beautiful. Just like the statue. Let's get inside it. Why is this statue so beautiful? Because it told us where to go. In the original Metroid game, it wouldn't do that. And I can understand why the more purists, thank you, why the more purists wouldn't like that, but I love it. I know where to go in the game. I know how to get the power-ups. I'll admit I can understand why it would annoy people who are playing it on hard mode who can't skip that. But for someone like me, who does not want a super duper challenge, thank you. Thank you, Chozo statue. Yeah, it's a statue of an ancient race called the Chozo. I say they're ancient, but they still exist in modern times. Modern being the key here for, you know, Samus's time period. Chozo still exists here, and they actually raised Samus. And there's quite a bit of backstory into Samus's past. She was raised by the Chozo. They actually infused her DNA with their DNA, and that makes her more athletic, but they also gave her this power suit that we are in now. This power suit allows her to do all sorts of stuff and essentially makes her very, very viable for fighting. Otherwise, she'd just be wearing Galactic Federation armor, and Galactic Federation armor is not something I would depend on. We don't know the Galactic Federation yet, but we will. But I'm sorry, Chozo statue, but you're in my way. Now we have to take the long way. And that's another reason that people don't like the Chozo statues. They get in the way. There are requirements. Although, there's something special about Metroid games called sequence breaking. Usually it's not intended, but sometimes it is, and you can sequence break throughout the game. So you can skip that Chozo statue we were just at, but you do want to get this. You don't have to, but you should. It is the long beam. Fire long distance shots with this beam. Press L plus B to fire diagonally. So L plus B is the diagonal firing. We already seen that. That wasn't unlocked. Thank you. But the long beam is, and now with the long beam, we can actually get out of here, because we couldn't break those before, but now we can. But you can actually skip the long beam. You can essentially do some sequence breaking to get around that and have a lower percentage, so you can go for your low percent runs and get the rewards from that. This game can be very difficult, so if you are going for low percentage, I hope you know what you're doing, because I went into this game thinking I knew what I was doing and I still had trouble with it, and I was not going for low percentage. I was going for 100%, and ooh, it is tough. It is tough. We'll see why it gets so tough later. Ooh. Statues. Huh. Strange. Can't break them. Can't get around them. Might as well leave them. We'll have to come back later. Ooh. Yeah, this is acid, so be careful. It will hurt you. Samus can't swim, but she also can't survive acid. Our first mini-boss. And I wanted to look up his name and I forgot. I will have someone get on that. So, now we got that taken care of. As you notice, the door is gray. So now when those doors are gray, you can't open it unless you do a certain action. This action was beating the mini-boss. So since we did, we can open the door now and continue onward through Brinstar. This first area of Metroid Zero Mission. Thank you. So, now that we got that taken care of, onward. Yeah, so, unlike the Sonic enemies, I'm not as familiar with these enemies, so I'll try to come up with them as I can. But anyway, we can continue onward, go into the next area here, and in this next area is a red door, and a little parasite thing, but he doesn't hurt you, he just hangs out, falls along Samus. But we can't get through this red missile door, that's kind of annoying. Well, let's go upwards. I mean, in Sonic, if you go up, you get more rewards, right? So that's gotta hold true for Metroid. And sometimes it does, but... Whoops. Wow. Well, dang. Here I am trying not to kill these enemies because they're just animals. They're not trying to be in your way. Some of them are actually enemies sent by the space pirates we're trying to hunt down. And we'll get into that a bit more later. But for the time being, I'm just going to continue onward. What's in here? Oh, a save room. So yeah, you have to go to these save rooms to save. You really should. Like, I can understand why speedrunners won't, because it will slow them down and they want to obviously get as high a speedrun score as possible. But if you don't care about that, it's a good idea to save. Now granted, I'm playing on the Wii U, so I have save states. Oh, earthquake. Run! But save states can't save you forever. Well, I mean, I guess they can, but... if you want to be more official about it, you shouldn't do that. Missile tank. The other most famous Metroid weapon. Press R plus B to fire. Opens red hatches. Yay! So now we have the way to open those red hatches. Red doors. But... we have no way to open that. Can't roll up against it. Can't shoot it. Can't even use missiles on it. Well, that's weird. So we're stuck. Can't break these weirdo rocks. Well, we might as well go back. Hopefully we won't run into that earthquake again. Whoops. There we go. Now I'm trying to do something here, but I don't know. Yeah, the game's not gonna give it to me. Oh! It's not an earthquake. It's a boss. A very easy boss, but he's a bit of a brat because if you don't kill him really quick, and he's very easy to kill very quick, well, aside from the chance that he actually could kill you, he'll do this. Oh wait, no, he's not gonna do it yet. Now he's gonna do it. He runs away! Yeah, you don't even have to kill the first boss. Like, you never have to kill the first boss. It's kind of weird, but... we'll run into him eventually. He does have a power-up for us, so we will want to take him down eventually. But, in the meantime, let's just try to get Samus back up the cliff, since we're trying to be nice to these cute little creatures. And let's end my adventures in Zero Mission. Next time, let's do better than we did before.